All right, welcome everybody to Ted Jr. Presents Top 5, powered by Life on Wax LLC. Today, our featured guest is a successful mother, model, and business-owning photographer and videographer. Some might say that's a lot, but she's also a microphone maven. And she joins us today to promote her radio show podcast. Let's welcome none other than Queen Yero, host of the Saturday staple, Brunch with Black Folks.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Man, everybody's here and happy to see you, Euro. And we're so glad that you decided to come through and be on this show today.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. I love it.
Well, you're one person that we definitely want to talk about, and we definitely want to hear about Brunch with Black Folks. But before we get started, I'd like to kind of jump right in to this question. When you were growing up as a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
So it's so weird to be on the other side of the microphone, being the interviewee. So when I was a kid, I always wanted to be, I guess you can say, the center of attention is the thing. I was always into acting and just being on the radio. I wanted to be on the radio when I was a kid. I wanted to go to school for it when I was a kid. I just wanted to be, I guess, seen, I guess is the way you want to say it. I was a kid actor.
Okay.
I went to school at YPass and went to Western. I was on the radio at Western. I was Ziggy with a Z on 97 Revolution.
Wow, these names.
Right, these names. This is a real thing. So I've always wanted to be on radio. I've always wanted to do some type of performing arts, whether it be radio, television, movies, theater, just whatever I can get into to just have fun and bring entertainment to the world.
Wow. So starting at that point and you wanting to be center of attention.
I mean, really, that's basically what it is.
Basically, you want to be a ham.
Yeah.
How did you end up on Brunch with Black Folks or running this Brunch with Black Folks show?
Well, interesting that you asked that. I answered an audition request from you, founder of Brunch with Black Folks, and I was really eager to be on radio here in Louisville. It was one of those things, like, I practiced. I wrote a whole script, a whole segment. What we won't do is the segment that I had. And I just made sure that I was going to blow it out the water and I was going to be so loving and charismatic that you had to say yes, that I had to be a part of the show. And it was one of those things, like, I hadn't been doing theater. I hadn't been doing acting. I hadn't been doing anything for years. And then when I saw the Facebook post for the audition, I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a sign that I need to get back into it. Maybe this is what it's for. And I literally just like, well, the worst thing they can say is no. But luckily you didn't say no. You said yes. And here I am, almost, this will be the third year. This will be the third year of Brunch with Black Folks, and I'm super excited.
So yeah, I will say you were definitely one of the top people that I saw during those auditions, and I knew it as soon as you walked in the door. The first thing I heard, I said, yeah, I got it. I'm gonna have to make sure she's a part of this. And but you said before that you had kind of been out of the spotlight for a bit, or out of.
Yes, I had. Life happened. I met my husband in college. Well, I met him in actually high school, but we got real heavy in college, and then, got married, then had kids, and I was like, being a starving artist, quote unquote, is not the thing for a family to have to do. So I was like, well, let me focus on whatever's going to pay the bills, whatever is going to be a legit, what can I do for the most money? And I did that for so long, but then it was, you become one of those cubicle drones and just feels like it's slipping away from you so much. It's like, because then you think about it, like one day you think about it and it's like, man, this is not where I wanted to be as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing anything fun. My excitement was a good book. And I'm like, what can I do? What can I do to try and get back out there? And then boom, Facebook brought me together. I was like, yes, this is it. I gotta do it. Maybe if I get it, then it'll be, it'll start the sparks of other creations, which it did. So it was wonderful, but it was like, yeah, the signs.
Clearly it did. It did. So what do you love most about producing and hosting the show?
Brunch with Black folks is the best part of my weekend, just because of the conversations that we have. The interviewees that we have come on that share their experience, just being, and it's just a whole bunch of blackness rolled up into a podcast, and you get different. I have different co-hosts on there, but have different point of views. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't, but it's all going to be out of love. We've had a couple of people on the view that didn't quite meld together, but it was still like, here's my point of view. Let me explain to you what my point of view is, and then you can decide on whether you like it or not. The biggest thing that I love about Brunch with Black folks is the grit wars that we have that is going strong. It's 3 years going strong.
They're going strong, huh?
Yes, 3 years going strong. I feel like I should make t-shirts, especially nowadays. I should just start making t-shirts for it. But it's merch. Just right, it's merch. But it's just so much fun to just be around. It's a safe space for you to be your most authentic blackness, especially when you are in the professional world and you have to code switch, I guess is what you would say. But a bunch of Black folks, hey, it's in the title. It's Black folks. It's Black folks. We brunching, we having a good time. You just free to be you. And when the interviewees come on, they're definitely they definitely understand the vibe of it, and you get to see a different side of them that you probably normally wouldn't see. So it's very much fun, especially the guests that we, the random guests.
The one thing that I definitely love about how you all do the show is what you said is you get to showcase Black people not being a monolith, and definitely having their own ideas and thoughts, and maybe clashing over things, but then commiserating over other things, and all in the same conversation. So, yes. So I love that kind of thing. I also love how you all highlight people who are in the arts. I've seen a lot of actors, a lot of playwrights, a lot of people kind of in that world show up on your show.
Yeah, we try to say that we are a podcast radio show of the community, so we need to make sure that the community has a place where they can be spotlit. Sometimes, playwrights, they don't get the recognition that they need, and for me to have this platform, it's the best way that I can give back to the community is to let them come on the show and say what you have to say. Small business owners, mental health. We talk about literally everything. That FCC will let us talk about. But it's one of those things, like, a lot of times people don't know of the community. Like, they get all their news on Facebook. Some people don't go to newspapers or to TV. So if you're not seeing them in that big media, then they're not on Facebook, then you don't know about them at all. So this is another thing, because everybody wants to see a video. Everybody wants to see, people cut up. But you also get information as well from our show. And that's one of the things that I try to make sure it happens, is that, if we don't have a person on the show, we still try and have like a community corner to highlight something that we see that needs to be seen.
Yeah. So so you say you've been doing this for 3 years now.
Yes.
Has there been a moment, because I know it's not always easy. Has there been a moment where you thought, man, I should just stop doing this and do something else? And then why didn't you?
It was very funny when I started doing the photography, which is another passion that I've always had. I was like, okay, maybe I can't, people aren't listening to the show. Nobody really knows. Like, this is just a hobby. People aren't paying attention to this show. It's whatever. I don't need to do this. Nobody's gonna pay attention. I was actually doing a photography gig, and one of the people was at an event. One of the people came up to me and they're like, "Hey, are you Yero with Brunch with Black Folks?" I'm like, yeah, that's that's me. And I was like, I love your show, listen to it all the time, it's great. And I was like, oh, okay, people are listening. They might not be saying that they're listening, but clearly this random person that I do not know came up and was like, we love your show. And I thought, again, all about signs, that it's like, okay, I have to keep it going. We have to keep it through, because if we can at least reach 5 people, that's 5 more people that are now knowledgeable of something that they didn't know before. So I was like, all right, let's keep it going. Let me get me a V8 or something, some energy, and just try and keep it going that way.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm really glad you were able to get that kind of reaction while you're out, and that because all that does is give you confirmation that what you're doing is being seen and heard. Because it can be hard. It can be hard being on the radio or doing podcasts and not necessarily knowing if anybody's listening, or if you're just talking to an empty room.
Right.
And so I love that you kept doing it and just kept talking to that room, because somebody's gonna hear it. Somebody's listening.
Yes.
So I know you've been going on for a while, and I know there's been, since the beginning, there's been different lineups, different kind of little changes here and there to how the show kind of looks or works. If someone only had a chance to listen to one episode of Brunch with Black Folk to get the core of what the show is all about, or the best shot of the show, what would that episode be? Which episode would you tell them to go listen to?
Honestly, it would be a brunch giving. It's either one of the brunch givings would probably be the best show for you to hear, just because it's literally everything Black that that it just runs off. You can either watch the first brunch giving, which has you and B Shatter on it, or you can watch the last brunch giving that we had. Is where, normally there's a level of Blackness that you can have, and some people they just barely stay underneath the professional Black. I don't know words to say, the professional Black. But then when you get around and you're talking about food and memories and what you do at a cookout or a festival, like that is the core of the Blackness, the Black culture. And so listening to one of those shows is definitely going to give you what Brunch with Black Folks is all about.
And now it's time for top 5.
Top 5. Ooh, look at that there. Okay.
If I can get that, you see. So here's the wheel. This wheel is located on tedjuniorlive.com. So anyone can go, click on the wheel whenever you want and decide what the topic might be if you want to play the game at home. But we're going to click the wheel now, and it's going to land on something. I don't know what. You do have two secondary chances to spin the wheel if whatever shows up is completely outside of what you can make a top 5 on.
Okay.
But don't be scared. Like don't chicken out of it. If you can kind of do it, go ahead and do it. But all right. So we're gonna spin the wheel. Top 5 TV shows.
Yes, I am for it. I got it all. All right. So, which order am I supposed to do?
All right. So let's start with number 5.
All right. Number 5 would have to be Designing Women.
Designing Women.
Yes.
Okay. Talk to us about why.
I went old school. I don't know if anybody of our generation appreciates Designing Women and the clapbacks that happen on Designing Women.
A lot of shade.
Baker is the most savage and professional person that you will ever meet in reality or not. Her clapbacks are just epic. She can destroy you with such posture. It's just amazing. I watch her show. I watch that show just to give me a good laugh at when she tears somebody down. It's funny.
Wow. Wow. Designer, when you did throw back on that one.
I did. I threw
All right, what's your number 4?
most of mine are throwbacks just because, nowadays, plots
Hey.
is let's see. Number 4 would have to be the Cosby Show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cosby Show.
I actually to this day try and model myself after Claire Huxtable. She's a whole mother, a lawyer.
Man.
Her clapbacks can be wonderful as well. When Vanessa had her big fun.
My favorite one was when Elvin was like, "So
Yeah.
you're gonna get him coffee?
You will not get anything everywhere. Yeah, she is amazing. I absolutely love her. And just the whole dynamic of she sort of kind of held things together. She was beautiful. She had a job. She had these kids, and she held it down every single time. But granted, I understand that this is just television, but still something that we can look forward to. I don't care what anybody says. Bill Cosby is not the same as Heathcliff. So I separate the two. I separate the art and the artist. Let that go.
So you can you can always separate the art and the artist.
I cannot always, but in this case, I love Claire Huxtable that much.
Right. Well, the interesting thing about that show is not really about Bill. Like he's not.
Right. Not really it at all. It's to me, it focuses more on the children and how they're trying to grow up and what they have to do. Like you rarely see the parents intervene because they have their own stuff that they have to deal with, which is also again why I loved it. But when they do step in, they step in a most loving, here's where you went wrong. Here's how you fix it. And then they go forward from there. So yeah, that's another reason why I absolutely love it.
And your girl and my girl Claire Huxtable is acting her butt off all throughout that show.
Yes.
She's the top actress on that show ever.
Okay. Yes.
So number 3.
Number 3. Number 3. I sort of kind of want to say, you know what? I think I did this in the wrong order, but that's all right. I want to say Golden Girls. Golden Girls is pretty good. Just because Sophia, she was my favorite.
So I'm sensing the theme.
Yes.
I'm sensing the theme. You like all these shows where somebody's petty to everybody else and got the slick mouth.
I was told that someone thought that I was what's it called? Arrogant, but then they realized that I was just petty. So yes, I absolutely love it when somebody can be petty and classy and it be funny at the same time without really being mean. So yeah, I absolutely love that.
Man, so Sophia and Golden Girls.
Yes.
Did you also love the theme song?
Oh, so here's the thing.
All right, go ahead.
I love the theme song. However, what brightens my spirit is the remixed theme song by someone of our culture. When I can't even hear the original theme song anymore. Like even when I watch the show, I do the ad libs that were added as the remix.
I feel like we probably all had ad libs as we grew up, and when that brother made the video, I said yes, I agree. That those are also the woes I put in there on when I listen to
it. Exactly, like he just did it for the culture, so that we can have one singular. Everybody has their own remix, but now we have one that we can go forth with. and forever hear that when we listen to the song.
Forthwith and forever.
Yes,
Exactly.
with that forever.
All right, what's your number two?
Number two. Number two. So I'm nervous about what my number one is going to be, but number two is going to be Different World.
Mm.
Um,
Said in that Cosby bag. I see you.
yeah, but see, to me, I don't associate Different World with Cosby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know that he had a hand in it, but I just really don't. I don't associate the two. Because Different World, I mean, it brought HBCUs to the forefront of the small children, of the teenagers getting ready to go. Like I wanted to go there so bad. I was like, I'm looking it up, trying to figure out what the academic.
Where's Hillman? Where's
Yeah,
Hillman? How can I be on Hillman? Yeah, I'm with that.
to it. I mean, if you even now, like I understand that people not saying that, things come back from history, right? So a lot of people try and compare the new show Grownish to Different World. And I'm like, I can see the idea of it, but no, Different World was really talking about, real issues. Grownish is really talking about the lipstick choice of someone. So I mean, it's just it's
That's rude.
it's different. I mean,
It's that Sophia coming out of you.
that's that Sophia, that's that petty coming out. But no, yeah, Different World is it's just amazing. It's like historic television, all the seasons, and then the different theme songs that went with it when it grew. Oh yeah, no, Different World is absolutely amazing.
Who's your favorite character on there?
So it depends on when we're talking about. Like if we talk about the early seasons would have to be Freddie, but then Freddie, she shifted on me, and so I like the older Whitley when she actually got grown, when she was the RA of the den.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She actually got grown and she actually had some sense. Yes.
It was definitely one of those shows that made you understand that college can grow a person up,
Yes.
and that people during that time in their lives change.
Mm-hmm.
And so none of the characters really, if you look at them, none of the characters were the same character they started as once the
Correct.
show was over. They
Correct.
all they were the same person for the most part, had the same basic characteristics, but they were different people.
Right. You can tell, you can see them grow into their maturity. Now, I take that back. No, I mean, I take back that my favorite person in the beginning. My favorite person in the beginning now, as I look as a grown up, as an adult, Jaleesa.
I knew
was,
you.
Jaleesa, I absolutely, because looking at it now, like, you have a different appreciation when you see something when you were a kid and then you see it as a grown up and you're like, I understand exactly. But no, Jaleesa, she was the truth. Let's
Yeah,
that she did on the theme song.
she's
Fantastic.
inspirational because she was the character that went back to school.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that you like. That's not something that you often saw on
Right.
that age of show.
And
Where
not only did she go back to school, she was living in the dorm with them kids. And I was like, baby girl, my tendencies and nerves would not work with me being a grown adult with them kids.
and come on,
Right.
so let's get to your number one.
My number one. Probably everybody's gonna realize that my number one is Living Single. Um, just because,
Check it out.
I mean, right? Exactly. You got, what was it? 5 ladies that were doing it. One had their own magazine. One was a designer for the stars. Another one was a whole lawyer. Like, they were just doing their own thing and being as black as possible. And I absolutely loved it. Just the fact that you can see that camaraderie between women. Like, yeah, there's been a little bickering, but you mostly saw the sisterhood of it all. So I love that. It still goes hard to this day, living single. And I wish they bring it back or make a movie. I don't know, something.
So thinking about Brunch with Black Folks
Hmm.
and all of these shows you said your top five are, what character would you want? Which character from those shows would you want to be on your show to come and interview? Who would you love to have on the show?
Um, or from each show or
No,
just
just one
out of all the shows.
yeah.
Um, hmm. You make me feel some type of way, but I'm gonna have to go with Miss Claire Huxtable.
There it is.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm with it. There we
I would,
go.
I would have to have her come on. Like I would love maybe Khadijah from the business standpoint, but nah, Miss Claire Huxtable, she's like the superhero of all Black women.
Superhero meet Queen Yero.
Right. There it is. Yes.
Well, there it is. Hey, thanks so much for playing top five.
No problem. It
And
was fun. I loved it.
yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite parts. I love all the parts of this show, but that's the fun one.
Yeah.
So down to the final three questions.
Oh, okay.
But before we get to the final three questions, I want you to give us all of your social and how people can get in contact with you or get to know the show.
All right. So on Facebook, you can find me at t.a.yero. That is my personal page. You can always find us on Facebook at Brunch with Black Folks. It is FOLKS, just because we got to be special. And let's see, on Instagram, you can find us. The show is, I think you can do Brunch with Black Folks. Find the show. On Instagram, you can find me at Yero Media. And I think that's all that we have. Yeah, we just have Facebook and Instagram.
And are you all on streaming anywhere?
We are actually streaming on Apple Podcasts. We're streaming on Spotify. We are streaming on iHeart. We are streaming on Podbean. And actually, it's very funny you say that. If you just Google Brunch of Black Folks, you can see everything, because there is only one Brunch of Black Folks here in the United States. So Google me and then we're good. Good.
There it is. Google me and we're good.
Yes.
I'm with that. All right, so now it's time for the final three questions. They're quick and they're rapid fire. You ready?
Got it.
All right, Queen Yero. Who would play you in the movie of your life?
Jill Scott.
If you had one superpower, what would it be?
One superpower, what would it be? I would have to say invisibility.
And what topic should we add to the wheel?
We'll see for a top five. If we did a versus, it would be savory grits over sweet grits. But if we're doing the top five, I would say the top 5 Black directors.
Top 5 Black directors. We're gonna write that down and make sure we add that to the wheel.
I guarantee you everybody ain't gonna have 5. But
hey,
we gotta grow. I need y'all to look out for them. I need y'all to find them somewhere.
I got 4 off the top of my head, but that's a whole other conversation. Well, Queen Yero, I'm so glad you were able to come on the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. We got to do this some other time.
Everybody, remember to check out Brunch with Black Folk. You are on the radio in Louisville, Kentucky.
Right now, we are taking a hiatus. You can still catch us on our podcast. We're still doing that. Mind you, when we're just on podcast, we do not have FCC regulations. So you might have to clutch your pearls on some of these podcasts. But when we come back to the radio, we will be on 106.5 FMPLP.
There we go. And make sure you check out the episode Friendsgiving.
Yes.
And know that Brunch with Black Folks has so much more coming.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
It's been Ted Jr. Presents Top 5.